G'day mate, welcome back to Oxford Not Included with me, Jet. Today I want to talk about unlimited water storage. And I've actually got Catalina, Otto, and Abe along to help me today. And what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate how both these storage tanks work. But first off, let's go through some basics. So, down here, I have some airflow tiles, and as you can see in here, normally water stacks up to 1,000 kilograms per tile, and these tiles are fluctuating because the water's moving around from about 1,200 kilos all the way up to about 2,500 kilos per tile. So this is a terribly overpressurized room, and the reason the walls are not breaking is because airflow tiles are hydrophobic. That is, either the water has a fear of the airflow tiles, or the airflow tiles have a fear of the water. And we get this sort of force field around the edges, where the two of them don't actually interact with one another. Which means you can, up against airflow tiles, dump an infinite amount of liquid, and the tiles will never break. Another option, if you happen to have a large storage tank worth of liquid in your base, and you keep having the floor or the walls break out on it, is you can actually have 3 tiles deep worth of, I think it's just insulated and metal tiles. It might also be normal tiles. I'm not sure. I've never actually built one with normal tiles. But having 3 tiles thick will stop the liquid breaking the tiles. As you see, I actually have 12 tons worth of water inside this one tile. The third option you have is the good old manual airlocks, or the mechanical doors. Obviously, the pneumatic doors don't work because they're full of holes, but the other 2 doors definitely work. Now, this one gives you a nice square shape, which a lot of people do prefer. The catch is they're doors, so if you forget to disable access, there is always a chance that a duplicate might wander through and suddenly cause a big mess in your base. But what we want to do actually today is we want to basically be able to put liquid into this room, also pump the liquid back out of this room, and make sure that this vent is always accessible, and I can always add more liquid to it. As you can see, I do have a vent down here, but because we're over 1,000 kilos already, that vent's useless. It's now overpressurized. You've probably accidentally, if you've pumped oil into a small confined room before, you've probably accidentally in the past had the liquid level go well above where the vent was actually situated, because crude oil stacks to about 870 kilos before it moves to the next tile, whereas a liquid vent doesn't overpressurize until it gets to 1,000 kilos. So if you have a oil tank or a petroleum tank, you put a liquid vent at the very bottom of the tank, that tank's going to fill up to about 20 tiles above that vent before the bottom tiles actually have enough pressure that they're going to go over that 1,000 kilos and finally over that pressurize that vent. So now with that out of the way, I want to explain sort of how these work. What we want to do is we want to make sure that this liquid vent is always accessible. And there are 2 main ways of doing that. One is to make sure it's always in a gas environment. So make sure that liquid never ever covers this vent. And actually I've got a demonstration of that over here, where again, same story, I've got a pump inside a room with liquid vent. As you can see, the liquid vent is covered in just a little bit of oxygen. And this is probably the easiest build to make. I'm not a fan of this build for a lot of reasons, mainly because it's only one pipe in, 1 pipe out. In the case of some of my liquid tanks, I like to have 2 or 3 pipes in, and therefore 2 or 3 pumps out. Especially water. Water is one of those things you will go through a lot of, potentially, depending on what sort of base you make. But this one's very, very easy to build. As you can see, I've just wrapped a whole area in three tiles thick, except for the top, because there's technically no water up against this tile. And we have, as in the process of building it, and then filling it up, I've made sure I've only had 1 gas inside this room. So as I've added water into this room, all the oxygen, in the case of this one, it could be hydrogen, it could be carbon dioxide, whatever it happens to be, has been pushed into that one tile. And of course, it can't go anywhere. So it has to remain in that tile because it has no other choice, which means all the other liquid has to exist in these 4 tiles. This is, like I said, very, very simple, very, very quick. I'm not even going to demonstrate how to build it, because it's literally 1 pipe in, 1 pipe out with a little bit of power. It's very, very simple. These, a little bit more complicated, a little bit more useful, and as I said, you can do lots of different things with it. So what I want to do is I want to cover my liquid vents with liquid, but I need to make sure it's going to be less than 1,000 kilos worth of liquid over each of these vents. So this one, as I said, is for water, polluted water, brine, salt water. This one is going to be the style of petroleum, crude oil, maybe ethanol, a couple of different options on this side. And it all depends on whether you're going to have a heavy liquid at the bottom and the light liquid everywhere else, or the heavy liquid at the light liquid at the top this time round, covering the vent, and the heavy liquid everywhere else. So this one's going to be our water, and what I actually need to do is I need to put a pre-measured amount of liquid over this vent. It needs to be less than 1,000 kilograms. So I have to pre-measure out exactly the amount of liquid I have. I have 20 tiles long worth of pipe, and it is 4 rows off, so that is 80 tiles worth of pipe there, and the exact same there. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to have the duplicates fill up both these sections, and I'm going to fill this one up with water, obviously for the oil side. I'm going to fill this one up with duplicates. Plumbing. It's a little bit late, but go build yourself some toilets. And yeah, I know. There you go. Good to get some soil to put in there. Okay, and we're going to mop that up at the same time. So I need a bit of water in one, a bit of water in the other. And what I've done is I've brought a liquid bridge in to fill the whole rack, and then I've put a liquid bridge on the other end to make sure the liquid had a direction, it knew which way it was going. How are you suffocating? Oh God. Abe. Like, trying to do a tutorial video, and here they are, trying to suffocate themselves. Sheesh. So, as I said, I've put down a bridge at this end and a bridge at the other end, just so the liquid knew a direction to flow, and then we're just going to deconstruct these. Same goes with the oil. I just needed a pre-measured amount of liquid. So, my oil side I need to dump into the water side, and we're just going to have the duplicates very, very quickly build that up. And all this oil should flow in here. And because it's a pre-measured amount, as we can see, we have all the tiles full. It should be exactly 800 kilos worth of oil, which we should be able to dump in here fairly quickly. And that should give us enough liquid in that tile that oxygen not included is never going to accidentally delete the liquid. It should never over-pressurize either, unless you accidentally pump oil into your water line, which I can promise you I have never accidentally done because I wasn't paying any attention across 2 pipelines. But yeah, after this is done, we're going to have 800 kilos exactly in there. If we go back to this, we're going to deconstruct those, and if I hook my water line up, we're now going to start pumping water in. Now, as you can see, the first little bit of liquid has come out, and it's actually can't occupy this tile, so it's actually jumped to the tile above. And as we speed up the game, we're going to keep dumping those tiles of liquid up, above, and over the top. Eventually, this will flow over the top and down to where our pump can access it. At the same time, if we carefully look at the plumbing configuration, I'm actually using basically priority pipes. Can we, Abe, can you get up? Catalina, can you get up? There are things to do. Otto, same with you. Okay. What I've actually done is I've got a priority system set up here. So if my... if we actually bring in our water here, our water here, it's going to go from the white across the green because that's the priority flow, and at the same time it's going to have priority to go up this line, which means this pump down here actually has the priority to take liquid out of this build as well, meaning this pump only kicks in if I'm either not currently adding liquid into the system, or it needs to increase the flow from say 6 kilos in to 10 kilos out, that sort of stuff. But as you can see straight away, I'm now pulling liquid over the top. And as it, this is one of the reasons I prefer this build. It's quick, it's simple, it's also efficient, and can conserve power rather than using one lot of pumps to pump stuff in and then a second lot of pumps to pump stuff out. As for our oil side, I need to bring that pipe into there and have the dupes build that really quickly. At the same time, we might just give them the orders to get rid of this. This is what happens when you have dupes at speed 20 in construction. They're a little bit faster than normal. So, in here, because I already have crude oil down the bottom, I filled up the first 4 tiles. Plus, I've actually started filling this tile with crude oil as well. Because I want to actually have the water to sit on top. I want to make sure the water sits on top of the crude oil, nowhere else. And the only difference between the water side and the crude oil side is because I actually have that water sitting on top, I need to make sure we never ever pump this dry. So this is set to only draw liquid if the hydro sensor has over 500 kilos worth of whatever liquid it happens to be sitting on top of that. And as we can see, when we start pumping oil in, oil is going to start moving onto this tile because it can't occupy the water tile, and eventually it's going to start forcing its way, and as you can see, we're already starting to build up liquid on the right hand side. So this is how this one works. And yeah, as I was saying with the hydro sensor, I just want to make sure that I never drain this so low that this water has an opportunity to fall low enough that it can spread right across the floor. If it happens to do that, it is a mess to clean up. These systems do have the advantage of you can slowly corner build your way in here. If you happen to pump the wrong liquid into one of these vents, you can actually get in there and clean up. I recently had to do this in my own Let's Play. It's not fun to do, but it can be done. If you pump the wrong liquid in this system, you need to empty the whole tank, which if you're storing 100 cycles worth of water into a tank, it's probably going to take you another 100 cycles to empty the water out of the tank to be able to actually, maintain the first tank. So this is why I prefer this system. It is somewhat maintainable. It can be fixed, possibly, if things go horribly wrong, but it's not exactly easy to do either. Anyway, this is what I really want to cover when it comes to infinite liquid storage. For anybody who asks, yes, you can have those lovely liquid reservoirs, which now it seems I can't even afford to build one. Liquid pipes, tubes. Get rid of all that stuff. Come on, Abe. There we go. Metal ore. Give me 400 kilograms of metal. Hey! So, a liquid reservoir down here. As we know, they store 5 tons worth of liquid. The problem is they actually take up 6 tiles worth of area, which if you were just storing the liquid water by itself, you would store 6 tons worth of liquid. So, I wouldn't exactly call these liquid reservoirs or the gas reservoirs very good when it comes to any sort of mass storage. This is why I like these overpressurized tanks. As you can see, after a cycle worth of running, well, this side has definitely started over-pressurizing. We're well over the 870 kilo here. And it's going to keep pumping up for who knows how long. Water, same story. It's going to slowly get there over time. Anyway, that's where I'm going to leave it for this one. As always, if you're interested in more tips, tutorials like this, there is a whole link to a whole playlist down in the description below. At the same time, if you enjoyed the video, click the like button. By all means, it really, really helps the channel. And it also tells YouTube that other people might actually like to watch this video as well. If you have any questions or any other topics you'd like to see, please leave them down in the comment section below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Do hope you've enjoyed. And, I'm also going to be covering a gas version of this in the next couple of days. So if you want to see that button, by all means, click the subscribe button. And I'll see you guys when we cover unlimited gas storage. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you in the next one. Bye.